Hi everyone, this is Ada. I would like to talk to you about New York bar exam. I've been receiving a lot of questions about it, and I've been mentoring tooling LLM students. So I decided to do voice recording for you to benefit before you take the bar exam, and to give you guys an idea what to expect in New York bar if you're an LLM student in United States, if you are holding a foreign law degree, and etc. So you can ask me your questions from the email address that you see below the heading. So today I'm going to give you an idea about what to expect when you take in the New York bar and my experience with it. So in order for you to be an admitted attorney in New York bar, of course you need to properly apply. I'm stressing this point because it often gets complicated, and the paperwork that you must submit is half of it is from your home country. So that's why you need to start this process early. If I were you, I would even bring my documents to the United States before I come to the United States for my master's degree. But if you haven't done so, there's always time because New York bar is on May, and I believe the deadline was in October, or you should always check the official websites. That's why that's the most important point on the top. Always check the official websites and follow their deadlines, follow the document requirements, and etc. For New York bar, the website would be newyorkbarexam.org. So in order for California, you should go for California website. Generally, it ends with org, like org.com. So you should see a deadline for to apply, and you should diligently work on your paperwork. And I know when you're an LLM, there are a lot of things to focus on: your classes, your adaptation, finding a house, etc. But if you are going to take the bar, applying is the most important step, obviously. So that's why start the process early and check the required forms diligently. For LLMs, basically, what you need in order to be admitted to New York bar is first, you need to have a law degree in your home country. Then, you need to have an LLM in the United States, which is called a cure provision. And third, you need to provide your supporting documents in required form, which means sometimes they require a form in a specific way. For example, in my experience, this might be changed, so always check the most current form in the official website. When I was taking it, I needed to provide my transcript from the school to the bar organization, and they required the envelope signed, like sealed. So you need to provide the documentation in required form. That's why it's so important. Otherwise, they wouldn't count your transcript and etc. Then you need to do a pro bono, and New York Bar started to require an additional requirement, new skills requirement. You need to check into that. I might give additional information on that, but today I'm going to give you a bigger picture. If you guys have a question, if you cannot understand this new skills requirement, I can do another video on that. So you applied, then you're doing your master's degree, and how you're going to pass the bar in order to be admitted to New York bar. In my opinion, of course, this video is about all my experience. You can have other friends' experiences, and it might be different from mine. This is my experience. Of course, this is your journey, and you will have your own experience. But in my opinion, what I did was, what I observed in my experience was, it was 50-50. There was two folds to prepare. 50% was motivation and 50% was hard work. People were saying it's all about hard work, you study all day, all night, but when you are not motivated, when you don't have the mental stamina, when you're sad, when you're depressed, no matter how much you work, in my experience again, doesn't matter because your brain doesn't register when it's under stress. Your brain might work under stress, and I'm really happy for you. But in my experience, I needed to focus on my motivation half percent of the time, and the other half was hard work. So, hard work starts even before you get your books to study for the bar exam. In order for you to pass, generally, again, experiences could differ, but American students and LLM students, all friends that I had, um, was taking a bar prep course. This is an additional course. Um, your school will not cover your bar prep materials. So this could be Barbary, Timis, Kaplan, and etc. There are like a lot of uh, private courses out there. So generally people, like 90% of the time, they have a bar prep course, and you need to select it wisely. And you need to have a game plan for studying, and you need to stick with your plan. So I have friends, they made a very detailed plan, they had their calendars, but in the middle of the studying time, they just panicked. Then they ditched their plan and they start a new plan, which generally doesn't bring success. So have a plan, and your plan should carry you on like till the exam, and you need to stick with that plan. And you need to have a game plan not for the studying, but you need to have a game plan for during the exam when you're taking the exam. Your bar is 2 days. I will give you a little bit more information on that. So you need to have a game plan for studying and taking it. And selecting a bar prep course is a bit tricky because there are so many options. Which one will be right for you will be, of course, will be personal. You need to know yourself and your needs. Also, this is really important, knowing how you learn is important for how you study too, because there are different type of learners. Some people like to see, some people like to hear, some people likes to read and solve problems. Learning process could be different from people to person to person. Excuse my English, by the way, I'm an LLM, so English is a second language. And of course, some bar prep, generally all of the bar prep courses offer a live classroom where you go and you have your friends and you see the professor. And they also have an online version which you take it on your home. So if you're a social or solitary learner, if you want an independent experience or hands-on experience, these are the stuff that you need to be focusing on selecting a bar prep course and asking these questions to pick your bar prep course. And of course, since this is not covered by your LLM, you need to focus on your budget because your currency might be different from United States currency, and it might be really expensive, and generally bar prep courses are expensive although their prices are different. So what is your budget to select the bar prep course? Okay. Um, Game plan for studying. Let's talk about that for a little while. In my experience, the safe way, following the whatever bar prep gives you. So bar prep courses gives you a calendar, and they allocate time for listening the course, learning the material, then doing a time exam, and etc. I mostly follow that plan. And of course, you can alter it. I have friends asking me, "Hey Eda, did you read all of these? Hey Eda, did you um, take all these exams?" Of course, I did little bit alterations. Alter the plan only if it's not the plan is not working for you. So make those alterations, thinking about how you learn. You know, if you like to listen, um, I like to listen and learn. I listen the video lectures again and again and again. So that benefit me, but my some of my friends like to read. So it depends on your learning type. And is your English strong? Is your English is weak? It depends on that as well. So, but there is a caveat to that. You need to change those plans in first 2 weeks because you need to have a solid plan to carry you until the exam. If you change your calendar, if you change your plans all the time, you won't be able to finish the material on the time and you will miss some subjects. It might be very important subjects too when the exam time comes. So start early and check your plan, do some alterations, do some experiments in your plan, but do it on the first 2 weeks that you start. After first 2 weeks, know what time you're gonna wake up, know what time you're gonna study, what you know what material do you like to video lectures, do you like to do the other stuff, or do you want to follow the bar prep course 100%? And you need to stick to that plan obviously because if you allocate your time, because generally you will have 2 months. You will graduate from your master degree in May and the bar exam is July, so you will have a short turnover. That's why you need to stay on the track. And the trick is you don't have to be a perfectionist when you're taking the exam because New York Bar is a basic competency exam. You don't need to know itty bitty all the details. You need to learn the big pictures. If you get lost in the details, as you will understand when you're studying, there are so many materials, so many stuff to learn. So don't get lost on the details. Just focus on big picture, do as much as you can. And give attention to the frequently asked topics. These are referred to as big ticket items. It's like they're like it's like focusing on your lucky numbers, okay? So some questions are asked frequently and you will have a better chance to study those versus a rarely asked topic. And your bar prep course will share exam tricks. So they will try to trip you up with some questions, and you will understand what I'm talking about when you start studying, and focus on those. They're really important. And what I did, which worked the most, was reading the sample answers. In order for you to pass, you need to memorize a lot of stuff, and my memorization was terrible. So I read all the sample answers, even multiple choice questions, because when you read a sample answer, first they share the rule, they state the rule, so you read over and over again, so you learn the rule by heart. Second, they show you the trick, especially in multiple choice exams. When I read the sample answers, I learned where I was doing the mistake. So next time you will be more knowledgeable to not know that mistake again. And you will often feel this is impossible to learn this much of material and this much of time. There's only 2 months and there are so many stuff to learn. Don't worry, repeat, 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 and you will know the rules by heart when the exam time comes. And another thing, no matter how much you know about the exam, no matter how much you know the United States law, if it's not on the paper, it's trash. So you need to do timed exam. You need to have a time pressure. If you like to write in detail, bad for you because you might get 100% on one question, but New York bar exam is 2 days and many layer exam. So you need to finish on time. You need to put everything you know on the test. So timing yourself is so critical. It is so critical. And no matter how much you know, unless it's on the paper, it doesn't matter. You just fail. So, in order for you to pass, do time exam. I cannot stress this enough. So, sorry about stressing extra, but it's very important. Okay, so now you know how to study, you have a sense of there will be a lot of material and it will be hard, but what is the exam is about? So, New York in 2016, by the way, 2000, I took it in 2016, and that was the year that New York bar exam transformed into UBE, Uniform Bar Examination version. So New York registered the exam as a UBE format. So it's a three-part exam. First part is so it is a 2-day exam. First day you go there and you take two 90-minute items, MPT, multi-state performance test. Good news, guys. You don't have to know anything about United States law. You can go there if you're an art student but you can do this exam, okay? They will give you MPT is a not knowledge based. I'm sorry, I don't know. Not a knowledge testing exam. It's testing your skill. They will give you library, they will give you some case law, and they will give you an information that you need to answer a question. For example, first page will be here is your boss or senior attorney asking you to do. Here's an email. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Our client came today and she brought her lease contract. This is the contract. And in New York, there's a Supreme Court law. Here's the Supreme Court law. And in order for to solving our client's problem, considering client's contract, considering the New York Supreme Court ruling, write us a memorandum, write us a brief so we can provide it to clients. So you don't have to know anything. But the critical part is, so you're an LLM and you're highly a slow reader. I was a slow reader and this part was my nightmare. Honestly, this was my nightmare, but it went well. Anyway, so I spend a lot of time to do practice exams because you need to read fast and there will be a lot of pages that you need and the technique is different. So and there, although it's 90 minutes, two 90-minute items, you need to read it, the case, you need to understand it, then you need to write it on paper like a memorandum or brief and etc. So it's a bit tricky. Don't worry, it's a hard part for LLMs, but it's only 20% of your overall score. So it's not that critical. Just try to do your best, but if you cannot get it, don't worry because it's just 20% overall your score, okay? So, and the second part is MEE. It's multi-state essay examination. So, they will give 6 30-minute questions and they will ask you to write essays. And it's 30% of your exam. You need to know the law. They will give you a question like so and so with their car under influence, like drunk driving, hit so and so, and but so and so was texting while they're crossing the street. So they will give you this type of like long question, then they will ask you to apply New York law, etc. So this is 30% of your score. And in this part, you need to know the law and you need to be able to write an essay in that time, etc. So, the last part is the most important part. This is so important, but good news, it's a multiple choice exam, and multiple choice exams are, I don't want to say easier because they have tricks to trip you up, but for LLMs, I find it more like less intimidating. Okay, so this will be 6 hour exam and it will be 200 questions and 3 hour. If my memory is not wrong, 3 hours in the morning, 100 question. Then you have a lunch break. Then 100 question in the rest of the day. You can always check it from www.ncbex.org. But this is the New York Bar exam. So it's three folds, 2 day exam, it's long, you will be tired. So that's why you need to have a game plan for the exam day. This is, you will hear this many times. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon, which means you need to study each day, every day, and you cannot run fast and get tired. This is not a exam that you can study the night before. That's why for exam day, and it's really long, exam day, you need to have the energy to do the exam, to write what you know to the paper. That's why the night before, instead of studying like crazy till the morning, get a good night's sleep. That's so important. And in order for you will be stressed. I was stressed and my sleep was not a high quality sleep, but I forced myself to sleep. In order for you to have a good quality night's sleep, eliminate studying 3 hours before bed. Have a nice dinner, just read a book or do something else than studying. Just turn your brain off a little bit for relaxation and to ease your way. And eliminate blue light. I know Instagram makes you calms you down, etc. It's a night routine, but if you eliminate blue light before the bed, it's scientific that it will increase your sleep quality. And I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to wake up in the morning, so setting a wake up calls if you're staying in a hotel will save you some stress. And reduce caffeine after 3 p.m. This is like obvious, but and so when the time gets close, New York Bar will send you an email about what items you can bring with you. Um, Exam ticket, water, pen, etc. And they will ask you cannot bring your bag to the bar. So you will be required to prepare a clean bag. It's like a Ziploc bag for the exam day. You're gonna put your water, pens, and if you have medication, they are very specific. They don't want your water bottles has the labels and etc. So you will read that list and just bring those lists and prepare your exam bag before you go to bed. This will ease up your mind as well because in the morning you're just gonna grab your bag, you will not forget your exam ticket because it's in your bag, etc. And during the exam day, United States air conditioning is crazy, and I always, even though it's hot summer day, you freeze in the classroom. So that's why bring a lot of layers. Room might be hot, room might be cold, so and you need to have a lot of layer of clothes so you can take it off or take it. You can wear your hoodie, etc. I also took to Louisiana bar. In Louisiana bar, they forbid wearing a hoodie, which has hoodies are the sweatshirts that has not hats, but you know what I mean. So there might be a dress code. Be careful about that too. Some bar exams, as far as I heard, they require you to dress up as an attorney. So In New York bar, I wore a hoodie, but in Louisiana bar, they didn't allow me to. So make sure you dress appropriately. And arrange your transportation and arrange your lunch way before the exam day. And organize it in advance where you're gonna stay, who you're gonna drive you to the from airport to hotel, from hotel to exam place, etc. And okay, this is my favorite part. So I mentioned how timing is important, and you need to have an emergency strategy, which means in the essay parts, you are running late. For example, there's 5 minutes left, and you're doing an essay question. I personally did when I come across that situation. I just write the rules without making full sentences, without having full sentences. Like, this is a crime, this is against constitution, from PNI clause, just keywords and outline. And during your LLM, you will learn how to do an outline. So I'm counting on your school to teach you that, but you don't have to necessarily put a full sentence. And if you can put the keywords, at least you will get some more points instead of having a full sentence with a 1 point. Instead of having a one sentence explaining one rule, you can have keywords of 5 rule and get 5 points if you are running low on time. But as I mentioned, this is an emergency strategy. So use it consciously. Okay. And the other 50% is motivation. And I need to probably do another video, but mainly what I mean is you will have bad days. I guarantee you, you will cry, you will have breakdowns. And United States, JDs has the same problems. Everybody will have breakdowns. So what is important when you have a breakdown, when you're so overwhelmed as a foreigner, you're trying to do a very hard exam, even for Americans, you need to keep studying. You need to learn something every day. So that's why even you're sad, you're crying. I remember oftentimes I'm like crying and doing questions, reading something, listening a lecture. Just keep studying no matter what, because if you stop studying, you will get more stressed because you will think, oh, yesterday was a bad day. I cried and I took a break and now I'm behind 20%. So that's why keep your mind engaged. Accept that you will have breakdowns, but try to study through them, unfortunately. And the best way to prevent breakdowns is taking planned breaks. You cannot binge watch anything during bar exam. You cannot Netflix and chill all the time. But every day, give yourself good breaks. You need to. Your brain is like a computer, and it will crash down if you overload it. Then you will jeopardize the rest of your study. So taking every 3 hours, taking a 20-minute break, and every night taking a 1 hour reading or watching something or listening or exercise break, that's really beneficial, and that's rest of the 50% of how to pass the bar, in my experience at least. And as I mentioned, your brain is like a computer, and you need to charge it. You need to charge it. When you charge your phone, you charge your computer, you need to charge your brain. Sleeping is really important. It's scientific to your cognitive skills. Just improves with sleep, and your brain puts the knowledge to individual boxes when you sleep. So get a good night's sleep every day before the exam, during studying. Don't study until morning. Sleep. That's very important. That's as important as studying. And Get support from your friends, family, and significant others. It could be husband, boyfriend, or I don't know, good friends. Because if you doing laundry, if you washing dishes, you won't be able to take good breaks because you're gonna study probably minimum 8 hours a day. Then you will do chores. Then you will be exhausted. So just let them know that you only need like 2 months of support. I get as much as support that I could, but in case you have nobody, and as an LLM, I understand because you might have your family in your home country, which might be like 11 hours away, etc. So buy paper. I know it's not environmental, but buy paper plates or find a way to reduce your time that you do chores. I don't know, get cheap shirts and don't do laundry as often, etc. If you're taking a break, it should relax you, it should not stress you more, if that makes sense. And this is the most important part again. Keep yourself away from negative thoughts and negative people. We all have those family members. Oh, you cannot pass this bar. Oh, you are not like ready. Or they might not criticize you, but they might share their negativity, um, their feelings about the bar exam. Might have a friend that's studying the bar exam, and they might feel like they will fail. And when they share that feeling, you will get affected. We are all human and we are social animals. So when I was studying the bar, I tried to be away from those kind of people as much as possible. I know you like to support them. I know it's such a nice thing to do as a friend, but this is your story too. So this is your life too, and it's very critical. You should keep your motivation high, and it's already hard, and negative people make it harder. So today, these were my thoughts about bar exam. I will answer your questions if you mail me, and best of luck.